What's up, everybody? It's the Alex Leak and Friends NFL podcast. Back for another week. I'm your host, Alex Leak. We got Dustin on the show. What's up, Dustin? Good to have you back on.
Yeah, what's up, man? Thanks for having me.
Yep. So let's get into this. I mean, a great week of football, lots of action. Thursday night, the 1-5 Giants at the 1-4-1 Eagles. And the Giants actually had a lead 21-10 in this game. And I was starting to think, are the Giants going to pull this off? Because everyone's got either the Eagles or the Cowboys winning the division. Eagles able to come back at the end and win by 1 point. The headline of this game was Daniel Jones slipping and falling on what should have been an 88-yard touchdown run. Fell 8 yards short of the end zone. What do you think watching that live? I mean, I had to laugh. I saw Ross Tucker on the radio broadcast laugh. I mean, that's going to be hard for Daniel Jones to live down that one.
I mean, yeah, I definitely had to laugh, but then part of me kind of felt bad, because if I put myself in that situation, if that was me, I would have felt real embarrassed and down on myself. But, it happens. And, I mean, he's not the first and he won't be the last.
Do you put this on the same par as butt fumble with Mark Sanchez?
I honestly think that the butt fumble was worse, man.
Me too. It's hard to top the butt fumble. So Eagles pull this out. They almost lost to the Giants, but they win 22-21. They improved to 2-4-1 with the Cowboys seemingly in, trade away guys mode, no quarterback, not really sure what the Cowboys are doing going forward. Washington and the Giants, not really that great, maybe Washington. Eagles look like they might be able to somewhat cruise to the division title. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think this is all pretty much the Eagles. Unless
Maybe
Washington,
but I don't trust anybody else.
No, unless Carson gets injured or they have another big injury, the Eagles are going to run away with it.
Yeah, they should. I don't know how well they'll run away with the record, but I mean, they should. I agree.
Like we talked about last time, 6-10 and getting in the playoffs, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, like 5-10-1. I think 6-9-1. I think I'll give them 6 wins. Let's go to Browns Bengals, with the Bengals giving the Browns a pretty tough game, but it was back and forth, a shootout. Baker Mayfield looked awful to start this game, was 0 for 5 with a pick. But then after that, he turns it on and finishes 22 of 23 for 5 touchdowns. Good Baker versus bad Baker. What do you see when you watch Baker Mayfield on a weekly basis?
Inconsistency. I mean, we all know that if Baker wants to play, Baker could be good and the Browns could be dangerous. But then, if he doesn't want to play and he's not consistent, the Browns could suck.
Yep. Yeah, and he's the key that drives the car. He's the driver. He's got to perform. He's got to get the ball, the weapons. A tough loss losing Odell Beckham Jr. for the season. How much do you think that hurts the Browns going forward, or do you think they can survive it? I mean, statistically, Baker's better off without Odell Beckham Jr., but do you think that's actually the case?
I do not, but I think they're going to be able to make it just because they have a double-headed monster with Chubb and Hunt in the backfield.
Yeah.
So I think that's what saves them, and they have a decent defense, not the best, but
decent. Yeah. And Joe Burrow throwing for tons of yards and touchdowns, but they're just not good enough to win. But looking at Joe Burrow, I mean, I don't see any room to complain there. He looks like the franchise guy going forward.
Yeah, I was just about to bring that up. Joe Burrow is definitely the guy, and he's proven that he has the same arm he had when he played with the LSU Tigers, and he has a great future if they can get weapons and create a dynasty over there. He'll be fine. Absolutely.
Now let's go to Panthers Saints, where another good game goes down to the end, a 27-24 win by the Saints. I don't know if you saw it, but Panthers kicker Joey Sly just missed, was like a yard short of making a 65-yard field goal to tie the game late. Did you see that kick?
I did not have a chance to see the kick.
65-yarder. If he had made that, that would have been crazy, but
didn't 65, dang.
Yeah. Um, Saints improved to 4-3, or no, 4-2. Panthers dropped to 3-4. What are your thoughts on the Saints? About 4-2. What do you think? You think they can go like 10-6, make the playoffs, and who knows in the playoffs?
I do, but I do not think that they're going to win their division. I mean, the Saints are, another team that's inconsistent. I mean, they should not be 4-2. They have the talent to be undefeated right now.
Yeah, yeah, and hopefully they're 4-3 with the Bears going with the Saints going to Chicago next week. But tough game if the Bears don't get their offense to wake up. It's going to be another loss. So who knows if the Saints get to 5-2, they're not going to be complaining too much.
I mean, what is your take on it? I mean, the Saints should be undefeated. What do you think is making them be so inconsistent?
Well, it's going to help getting Mike Thomas back. Michael Thomas, the number one receiver, has been out for a week or two. Um, Drew Brees is starting to show his age. Father Time is undefeated. And I think at times also the Saints get too cute calling plays for Taysom Hill, taking the ball out of Drew Brees' hands. I think they do that maybe a little bit too much to their own detriment at times. But they're still a good team. I think they're going to make the playoffs. And, all it takes is to get hot going into the playoffs and make a run. I think everyone would like to see Drew Brees retire on top with a touchdown, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
What do you think on that?
yeah. I mean, I like to see Drew Brees get one more ring before he's done.
Yeah,
I
get to
mean,
two.
he's had like three of them robbed from him already.
Yeah, like the last 3 years with Vikings. Seems to be always the Vikings, and then it was the Rams that one year. But Vikings have gotten them, 2 out of the last 3 years?
Yeah, and that Rams one clearly should have never happened, but
Yeah,
that's just my opinion.
yeah. Let's go to Packers Texans. Packers improved to 5-1. Not really that good of a game. And at what point were the Texans ever going to decide, hey, Devontae Adams is absolutely destroying us. Maybe we should double team him. I mean, Packers playing without left tackle David Bakhtiari, without running back Aaron Jones. Their last best playmaker on the field besides Aaron Rodgers is Devontae Adams. At some point, I would have liked to see them double team him, but they didn't. Devontae Adams goes off, and the Packers beat the Texans 35-20. Uh, I don't think the Texans' defense, especially the secondary, is that good to begin with. And allowing them to go one-on-one with Adams was just a recipe for disaster, I think. Do you agree?
I mean, yeah, but I mean, with you saying that they're not that good, honestly, would they have been able to stop him with the double
Probably
team?
not.
Because Adams is a beast.
He is, but I mean, at least you can live with, if you're a fan of the Texans, at least if you say, hey, we doubled Devontae Adams, he didn't beat us, but Robert Tanyan or Alan Lazard did beat us, or Jay Sternberger. I can live with that. Allowing wide receiver number one to just destroy you without their starting running back, without their starting left tackle, that wouldn't sit that well with me.
Yeah, and this game also proves for the Packers that, I mean, if you can be down your best players on offense, and you can still win 35-20, if you focused and had your head in every game, you could be unstoppable.
Yeah, and I think part of it too is Rodgers was pissed off about the way he played against Tampa Bay, so he wanted to come out, light it up, and he certainly did that. Um, the Lions and the Falcons. The Lions get a big win in Atlanta. They get back to 500 after I think they started 0-3. No one predicted they'd be sitting at 3-3 right now.
Yeah, about to be 3-4.
About to be 3-4 with your Colts coming up, but. What do you think of this Lions team? I mean, 500, are they better than we thought? Or do you think the bottom's going to come out on the season later on in the year?
I mean, I think they're better than we thought. Their offense is starting to click. Their defense is getting better. But I just see it as, typical Lions, 500, below 500. But I
Yeah,
feel like they're
never a
going to
true
finish.
threat.
Yeah, never a true threat or never a team that you have to worry about can take the top off. So
Yeah. And then in this game, Stafford getting the Aaron Rodgers treatment, got hit a couple times and they were flagged for unnecessary roughness or roughing the quarterback, which, another reason for why I want to see these flags reviewed, because some of these hits on quarterbacks, it's as clean as it can be. I like to say quarterbacks are football players too. You should be allowed to hit them. You
yeah,
agree?
as long as you don't hit them, helmet to helmet or anything, it should be fair game.
Yeah, but
I
now
mean,
it's like if you're a
you make the
millimeter
choice.
too late, it's a flag. If you go low, it's a flag. If you go high, it's a flag. If you barely touch his face mask, it's a flag. The rules are so. And then my biggest beef, and tell me if you've heard about this. Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson have both started this thing where when they go to the sidelines, they're running along the sidelines out of the pocket, past the line of scrimmage, trying to pick up yards, and they'll act like they're going to go out of bounds and then fake it and run upfield for some more yards. Or they'll go out of bounds and feel like a hand on their back and flop and fall and get a 15-yard penalty. And the NFL is getting to the point where it's rewarding flopping. I don't like that one bit. I never thought I'd see flopping in football. Do you agree?
Yeah, and my take on that is, I mean, like, it's not fair to the defensive player that
Yeah.
you want to act like you're going to go out of bounds and then,
Yeah.
keep running forward as their momentum's coming forward. Of course, they're going to hit you, but I just feel like, if you play quarterback, what's at risk.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is they treat them like they're kickers nowadays. You can't touch them, and it's ridiculous. Chris Sims had a
These,
good point where he's like, with defenders not hitting you as you're going to the sideline, it's a little bit of a gentleman's agreement. Like, don't destroy me because I'm going out of bounds. Let me go out of bounds. I'm not going to try to pick up that extra yard. But if these quarterbacks are going to fake going out of bounds just to get a couple more yards, I think you're going to see at some point the coaches or defenders say, you know what, enough of this, and just take them out, lay them out, and take the 15-yard penalty, because you're either going to give up 15 yards with the fake and keep running, or 15 yards on the penalty. Someone's going to lay these quarterbacks out. And I know that's not what the NFL wants to see, but you protect them like this, overprotect them, and call them flopping. This isn't basketball. I think you're going to see some retaliation at some point.
yeah, and I mean, like, and I think a lot of the quarterbacks who have good feet do that on purpose.
Yeah, and Mahomes did it in the AFC Championship game against the Titans, and where he faked going out of bounds to pick up some more yards. And that's the last thing we want to see in a big, a game to go to the Super Bowl, is this fake stuff along the sidelines. Like, let's play real football. If you're gonna fake it, someone lay that guy out, and so we'll see what happens.
We need to petition as NFL fans and write letters to these officials, man, and tell them, like, look,
Well, to the league office,
yeah,
but I get the feeling the league office doesn't care as long as the checks keep going through.
and they wonder why they're losing ratings.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't know if they are, but I mean, I understand what you're saying. We'll see. Bills Jets was a field goal fest. No need to talk about that. The Bills get the win. They improved to 5-2. Jets are 0-7, as we expected. At some point, Adam Gase has got to get fired. The Bills improved to 5-2, but they kind of, to me, the Bills seem like a fake good team. Like, they're a good team, but they're one of those teams that gets to the playoffs and loses right away. Do you think the Bills can do better, or are you with me that when Buffalo seems to go up against the best talent, they can't get it done?
Yeah, I have to agree with what you said. I mean, we've seen that with Tennessee and Kansas City this year. When they face teams that are the real deal, they just can't win.
Yeah. Cowboys versus Washington. The Washington destroys Dallas 25-3. Andy Dalton gets knocked out of the game with a concussion. But a good win for Washington. And to be honest, Washington, maybe it's Dallas is that bad, but Washington didn't look too bad in this game. It's their second win. Wait, what's their record now? Are they 3-4? If Washington's 3-4, who knows? Maybe they could challenge. Do you think they have an outside chance at challenging Philly for the division?
No, I think it's their season's over.
Oh no, I got them at 2-5. So yeah, I mean I agree. I don't take Washington seriously. Maybe if Dwayne Haskins was still in at quarterback, but what's Kyle Allen going to do for you? I do like rookie running back Antonio Gibson now. He's running pretty good. And then Cowboys, they fall to what's their record? I believe it's 2-5.
Yeah, they're 2-5 also.
And now they're trading away players. They trade away Everson Griffin to the Lions. They trade away, or they released Dontari Poe and Daryl Worley. Some more moves may be coming. Cowboys looking like they might be tanking the rest of this year.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think, in my opinion, that's a good decision. But you know, what else can you do when your superstar's out?
Yeah, and there's some conversation that they're not tanking, and that those moves made this week were in response to the what was it called? The unnamed sources calling out coaching. And so maybe those unnamed sources were found out to be Everson Griffin and Dontari Poe and Daryl Worley. So they could be tanking. They could just be cleaning house of issues. And so we'll see. But either way, I don't think the Cowboys are going anywhere unless they make a drastic move at the trade deadline. Try to bring in someone like Ryan Fitzpatrick from the Dolphins.
That bothers me though, bro. Like, okay, so a player can't express his opinion without losing his job. I mean,
well, when shit's hitting the fan in Dallas, and to be honest, have we even seen Everson Griffin and Dontari Poe and these guys on the field? Like, they weren't producing much either. So maybe that was part of the reason they were upset, is that they weren't on the field much.
Yeah, and I mean, I understand that, but again, what I'm going back to is it's just like you should, as a player, be able to express your opinion on how you feel about the way that your team's playing. If the coaching ain't right, the coaching ain't right, you know?
Yeah, but you know how the NFL goes, and they're going to defend their coaches over the players. Like, it's not fair. It never has been fair. That's just the way it works.
In my opinion.
Yeah, the politics of it. Now let's go to Steelers-Titans, a battle of undefeated. It's a great game that came down to the wire. Steven Gostkowski, 45-yard field goal attempt was the difference as he missed the kick, and the Steelers win 27-24. But a great game. And with the Steelers are the last undefeated team left at 6-0. What do you see when you look at the Steelers? Do you see championship contender?
You know, man, honestly, I do. I think they are the only deepest threat right now to the Kansas City Chiefs. And that's because, you know, they got Big Ben on offense, who is playing better than I've seen him play in recent years, and a young rookie in Chase Claypool who's having one hell of a year. And that defense is just – that's probably – I put this defense up there with the Legion of Boom, the 85 Bears. This defense is very well slept on.
Yeah, and they've got a ton of talent, so they're producing like they should. But the Titans, you know, surprisingly, the Titans get down big, 27-7, and showed some fight in them as well. Tannehill getting them back in the game to make it good at the end. But I agree with you. The Steelers are going to be, you know, they're emerging as maybe a favorite to challenge the Chiefs in January.
Yeah.
And like we talked about with Chad Brown, Le'Veon Bell coming back to Pittsburgh as a Chief could be a pretty exciting matchup.
Yeah, and I mean, again, also what Chad Brown said was the Steelers have to find out a way to close the games in convincing fashion if they want people to believe that they can beat the Chiefs.
Yeah, they almost blew this one. But yeah, we'll see going forward. And another thing to watch is the Ravens in that division. I mean, that's a two-headed monster atop the AFC North is the Steelers and the Ravens. And I'll be looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun watching the Steeler-Ravens games coming up this season to figure out who wins that division.
Don't they play Sunday?
They might. I got to look that up. Let's see. Steelers, Ravens. Yeah, they do. Sunday at 1 o'clock. We'll see if that remains the time, but that's good. That's must-watch football right there. And with the Ravens adding Des Bryant as well, I think he's practice squad to start out, but maybe if they can get Des Bryant on the field, who knows what the Ravens can do.
Yeah, man, I'm so happy that they added Bryant. He's always been one of my favorite receivers, and he kind of got screwed out of being in Dallas.
He did, and then he signed with the Saints and was supposed to get on the field and then got hurt. And he was emotional after getting signed by the Ravens, and it's easy to root for a guy like that puts in the work, comes back, from the bottom, got cut by multiple teams, comes back and still gets an opportunity. So I hope he makes the best of it.
Let's not forget, got robbed in the in the playoff game against the Packers on that catch.
Yep. It was a catch. Let's go to Chiefs at Broncos, the first snow game of the year and a Le'Veon Bell debut game, but the first snow game of the year had me hyped. I'm not usually going to sit down and watch the Broncos much, but Broncos Chiefs, but with the snow, I was tuned in watching at least the start of this game.
Yeah,
it was gotta love some snow football.
I love to see snow football, man. It brings back great memories, like the Raiders and Patriots.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just snow football is great, slippery and.
As a Bears fan, my first game ever in the Bears stands with the snow falling. It's like, dude, that's football heaven right there. Watching football in the snow.
Yeah, I would have loved to have played football in the snow.
Yeah. Chiefs improved to 6-1 with a blowout win. Le'Veon Bell 6 rushes for 39 yards in his debut. Chiefs are going to be tough to stop once again. Now they got a two-headed monster at running back. All those weapons at receiver. They're going to be tough to beat, and they're going to be a factor all the way through in the AFC. But, we'll see if someone can dethrone them.
So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So, what do you think the mindset is of Clyde Edwards-Helaire? Do you think he feels like he's being replaced, or do you still think he feels like he's the man?
I think he was pissed off in that Broncos game. He was running hard, and it looked like trying to prove a point, like that he wasn't happy with the Le'Veon Bell signing. He feels like he should be the workhorse back, and with Bell coming in, I do think that he feels threatened. I don't think he's going to make any drama out of it, but I think he's going to work hard because of it to try and keep his starting job.
He's going to let his game speak for himself.
Yeah, I don't see him being a drama guy, but I see him working hard and being motivated. And with certain guys, it works. Aaron Rodgers, they draft Jordan Love. He looks pretty damn motivated this year.
Yeah, I agree.
Looking at Patriots at 49ers, really the shocker of the weekend. 33-6, Niners go into Foxborough and blow out the Patriots. Worst home loss in the Belichick era since the year 2000. How shocked were you to see the Niners just blow out the Patriots in Foxborough?
I mean, yeah, I was very shocked. I had thought San Francisco was going to win the game, but I'm very shocked. I mean, that you just don't see that being a Bill Belichick team. And with the loss of Brady, I think that the Patriots just aren't a very good football team.
Yeah, I think this is kind of what you're going to get from the Patriots. Cam Newton doesn't seem to be working out, and the Niners it's weird how the Niners just make it work. Like Jeff Wilson was the running back, getting most of the carries and building this lead. The Niners seem to plug and play these no-name receivers. That Raheem Mostert going off in the NFC Championship game last year. Jeff Wilson going off in this one. Wilson did get hurt and was placed on an IR with a high ankle sprain, but Kyle Shanahan, speaking of playing to the strengths of your team, Kyle Shanahan seems to do a pretty damn good job of that.
Yeah, most definitely. And I think that's what Bill Belichick is going away from this year in New England. I still don't think he knows what the strengths of Cam Newton are yet.
Yeah. Well, in my opinion, it's certainly not throwing the ball
Yeah.
because Cam Newton has not looked very accurate at times, and it's
And
hurting the team. And he even said it post game. He said, "I had to look myself in the mirror and be like, I play like that again, and the next time the benching isn't going to be just for a half; it's going to be for the rest of the year."
yeah,
So
and I
he
feel
knows
like
it.
Bill Belichick hasn't had a quarterback who can run. So he really, in my opinion, doesn't know, how to use a quarterback who can run.
Well, it's pretty shocking that a lot of the conversation this offseason was who's going to win? Who's going to win without the other guy? Is Brady going to win without Belichick? Or is Belichick going to win without Brady? So far, it looks like Tom Brady is winning that debate.
Yeah, it seems like to me that, and I was wrong. I honestly thought Brady needed Belichick, but
Yeah.
you know what? I'll come out and say it right now. I think Belichick needed Brady.
Well, he did, but at the same time, Brady landed in a pretty soft spot, a pretty good spot with a lot of weapons around him.
Yeah,
Um, let's go Bucks Raiders as the Bucks beat the Raiders 45-20. Speaking of Tom Brady, he was vintage Brady in this game. I mean, on point, some great throws, very accurate. When Brady's throwing like that, it's hard to beat him. And now the Bucks are adding Antonio Brown after going back-to-back games, scoring over 30 or at least 38. What's the ceiling for this Bucks offense? Do you think?
I mean the ceiling is just as high, in my opinion, as the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean they got weapons. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, who is injured right now, but as soon as he comes back, it'll be great. And then now
Yeah,
Antonio Brown, Rob Gronkowski. The sky is a limit for these guys.
yeah, yeah. So we'll see. And then nice to see rookie safety Antoine Winfield Jr. getting his first career interception in this game. Raiders fall to was that 3-3. What's your thoughts on the Raiders? I mean, are they who we thought they were? Just a 500 about team?
I mean, I think they're a little bit above a 500 team. I got them finishing like a 9-7, maybe.
A better question is, what do you think of Week 8 coming up on Sunday? The 3-3 Raiders at the 5-2 Browns. Where are you leaning for that one?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the better quarterback in Derek Carr to win that
Yeah,
game.
I'm gonna go Raiders too. Great minds think alike. I mean, the Raiders need this one. They don't want to fall 3-4.
No, because I mean their division is obviously not winnable with Kansas City.
Yeah, but they can get. I mean, talking to Tito on the podcast, it's playoff expectations for this Raiders team. So their fans are not going to be happy if they fall to 3-4.
No, and that's what they brought Gruden in there for.
Yeah, to take the next step, absolutely. A barn burner game. The 1-5 Jags at the 1-4 Chargers. Rookie quarterback Justin Herbert leads LA to a 39-29 win to improve to 2-4. Justin Herbert, 413 yards combined, 4 touchdowns, 3 passing, 1 rushing. All the praise we're giving to Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert's right there.
Yeah, I am definitely amazed about how this guy is playing. And I mean, I'm not surprised. I knew he could do it. But I mean, him and Joe Burrow are going to be the future in the NFL.
Yeah, I agree. Um, let's see here. Sunday Night Football, Seahawks, Cardinals. Cardinals hand the Seahawks their first loss of the year in overtime, 37-34. This was a wild game. The Seahawks leading 27-14 and 20-7, but couldn't hang on for the win. A decent amount of turnovers. It wasn't MVP Russell Wilson, I didn't think. He was a little bit off. This is kind of a sloppy game overall, and the Cardinals were able to finish it off. Do you agree?
Yeah, it was a sloppy game, and I mean, MVP candidates tend to have a bad game here and there. So
yeah, you're not going to be perfect every game. And a couple penalties. If you remember, a Russell Wilson screen pass to DK Metcalf could have ended it if not for a holding call.
Yeah.
And then how about DK Metcalf chasing down Buda Baker on that, what should have been a pick six? DK Metcalf is like, 6'4", 230? I've never seen a guy that big running that fast, chasing somebody down like that.
Gotta love the effort, man. That was straight effort. That was him wanting to win the football game.
Yeah, it was badass. He loved to see that as a football fan. And then let's go to Monday night. Bears at Rams. Bears suffer their second loss of the year and look just completely inept on the offensive side of the ball. The defense outscores the offense 7-3, and the Bears lose 24-10. Nick Foles, on a quote, talking to Monday Night Football analyst Brian Greasy, says, quote, "Sometimes play calls come in, and I know that I don't have time to execute that play call. I'm the one out here getting hit. Sometimes the guy calling the plays doesn't know how much time there really is back here." That's a pretty damning quote there. Whether Foles meant to have that go public or not, that's quite a quote.
Yeah, and I think, Nagy's not calling plays that are what Nick Foles is capable of doing. I mean, it seems like to me he still thinks Trubisky's back there.
Yeah. And, I don't know what's going on. I mean, they need to find an identity. The Bears' offense doesn't have an identity. This is their fourth consecutive game going with a team rushing yards of less than 65. Less than 65 yards rushing in 4 straight games. That's a recipe for losses. And if you look at how bad this offensive line is playing right now, I'm not so sure that Mitch Trubisky isn't the better guy for the job right now because of his underrated athleticism, ability to make something happen when the play breaks down. Nick Foles doesn't have that, and you're seeing a lot of his passes turning into incompletions and turnovers because he simply doesn't have the time to sit back there, read the field, and throw the ball. Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree 100%. And you need somebody with legs right now with that kind of offensive line because Nick Foles definitely. I mean, he can move a little bit, but he's not, somebody who can run away from a defender.
I'm gonna go ahead and disagree with you. I don't think he can move at all. I've referred to him as a statue, and that's how I feel. There isn't much athleticism there. I mean, sure, he can. He just really can't do much. If the pass rush is in his face, he's screwed. And Trubisky, at least the last time we saw Trubisky this year, he just ran for like a 50-yard run against the Falcons to get us in the field in the red zone. So, I wasn't a fan of the switch when it happened, going from Trubisky to Foles, and I'm even less of a fan now as we're seeing, an embarrassing performance on national TV on Monday night. The Bears fall to 5-2. Their next 2 games are at home against the Saints and then at the Titans. I see 5-4 staring us right in the face, unless something major changes on offense. And a big game on Sunday, hosting the Saints. It's winnable, but and I'm happy to see that a lot of people that I've been debating with since week 1 of last season of 2019 are starting to come around to agreeing with me that, hey, maybe Matt Nagy isn't an offensive genius, and maybe Matt Nagy's the one holding his own offense back.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe it's time to give up play calling. In my opinion, that's what offensive coordinators for, is to call the plays.
Yep. And
You know,
and some people are saying fire Matt Nagy. That's not going to happen in the middle of a season when you have a winning record. We're 5-2. He's not getting fired. Let's just accept that. But hopefully, he'll learn that someone else might be better off calling plays and get this team going in the right direction. Because if
so
shit doesn't change in a hurry, we're going to be staring at 5-4 and be back to where we were last year, a borderline 500 football team.
my question for you is being a Bears fan. Chad Brown said it earlier, but like, if they did go back to Trubisky, how do they like justify that? I mean, they're saying that Trubisky wasn't the guy, and that the guy is supposed to be, Foles, but now Foles ain't the guy. How do
It's
you
easy for me.
Trubisky?
It's an easy justification. Our offensive line is worse than we thought. Our offensive line can't give Foles enough time to just drop back and make a throw. I believe he gave up a safety or close to it the other week. I mean, um, and then on top of that, Foles isn't just under pressure and can't make plays. When he does have time, like in the red zone on Monday night or other in a couple different situations, he's throwing into double and triple coverage and being reckless with the football. And with a dominant defense like the Bears have, you can't have a quarterback being reckless with the football. And that's something that I appreciated about Trubisky was that for the most part, he took care of the football. And people want to make these lazy arguments like Trubisky can't read defenses. If Trubisky legit can't read NFL defenses, you would see a lot more turnovers. And
Yeah, and another thing about the Bears is I think they need to go out and get a legit tailback. They haven't had a legit running back in a while.
I'm a big David Montgomery fan, but I agree with you. Well, the offensive line isn't run blocking. And on top of that, Matt Nagy is giving up on the run. He refuses to stick with it, and on top of that, his running scheme is very basic and doesn't isn't anything that's going to trick anybody. It's very basic. The defense knows what's coming. There's no identity to the offense. It's very obvious that the issues in Chicago start and end with Matt Nagy in this offense, and David Montgomery has potential after leading college football in broken tackles, but you have to give him some space. He can't be getting hit in the backfield every time he touches the ball. And what happened to these quick outs? When your offensive line can't block, you need to have these safety options or quick routes to either the running back out of the backfield or a quick hitch route to, a quick route to a tight end, something, reverses, something to keep the defensive pass rush honest and keep them out of, predictable right in the face of the quarterback every time he drops back. So there's a lot of issues with this Bears offense, but I think number one, it starts with play calling and playing to the strengths of the roster, and we're just not doing that.
Yeah, I agree, and I mean, okay, Matt Nagy, you can't 100% put it on him, but then again, you can because he can't make the players go out there and perform, and I think the Bears lack stars, bro. That's just my opinion.
They lack stars, but they don't lack talent. They've got rookie wide receiver Darnell Mooney is showing out. On Monday night alone, he made Jalen Ramsey look like shit twice on the double move. He beat Jalen Ramsey, the best corner in football, and was wide open down the field, and Nick Foles missed him, overshot him. And that's the reason that that's one of the biggest reasons that fans were saying that Trubisky needed to get benched was his inability to hit the open guy downfield. They kept saying, that's a throw you got to make. If you're a starting quarterback in the NFL, that's a throw you got to make. And when Nick Foles gets in there and he's missing those same throws, what does that tell you? Something obviously is off, and it's not just the quarterback.
Yeah, I mean,
and we have weapons. We got Jimmy Graham. We got Allen Robinson. Darnell Mooney, who's an up-and-coming rookie, Cole Kmet, who you know very well is an up-and-coming rookie, and we need to use him more. Instead of throwing all these passes to third-string tight end Demetrius Harris, let's get Cole Kmet out there, who made an outstanding catch against the Rams on Monday night.
So you agree it's time for Nagy to hand the reins over to the offensive coordinator?
I have agreed. I've wanted Nagy to hand over the play calling since week 5 or 6 last season. And he has refused to do it. And right now he's saying, you guys are focusing on the negative. I'm choosing to focus on the positive, which is 5-2. Well, 2 weeks from now, it's going to be 5-4. I'm interested to see what happens in 2 weeks. Whether Nagy gives up play calling, whether Foles continues to be the starter or they go with Mitch. I'm really interested to see what happens in 2 weeks. And that's going to determine a lot of how the rest of the season goes for the Bears.
Does he not believe in the guy he hired to be his offensive coordinator, or is it just him being stubborn?
It's him being stubborn. He thinks that he's an offensive genius. That's why it's ego. Like Chad Brown said, it's ego. He thinks that he knows best and that, his guys can get it done. But Nick Foles was supposed to be his guy. And to be honest, I think the offense has gotten worse. The offensive coordinator is Bill Lazor. And I don't know. I really do. I don't think it's a lack of trust in the OC. I think it's ego that he doesn't want to give up play calling. And if that's the case and he refuses, I'm telling you, we're borderline looking at another losing season. And that sounds crazy to say at 5-2, but 5-4 is not that far away. And if you get on a 3-game losing streak, the season can snowball out of control in a hurry.
So why don't you think Pace is stepping in and saying, hey, as the GM, in my opinion, I feel like you should hand over the play calling?
There's a lot of issues in Chicago, and it's a lack of accountability, lack of leadership. Starts with ownership and issues, and leaks all the way down into the entire organization. Ryan Pace has failed on multiple draft picks, most notably the quarterback, but he's failed on offensive lineman picks. The only thing that's saving him is the defense, the trade for Khalil Mack and the drafting of Eddie Jackson and these guys and Roquan Smith. That's the only thing that's saving him. Other than that, I think if we miss the playoffs this year after starting 5-1, both Nagy, Pace, a lot of heads need to roll and get out of town in Chicago. But we were at the same situation a few years ago with Trestman and Phil Emery. So, I would like for once the Bears to get it right, but it seems to be ownership hiring the wrong GM, who then in turn hires the wrong head coach, and they both combined draft the wrong quarterback.
I'm starting to think it's the whole city of Chicago, man, because the Bulls, they got not a very smart GM either.
Well, we finally fired Gar Pax. Now we've got the GM that we trust. Now we've got a legit GM, and he's the guy who hired Billy Donovan, the former Oklahoma City coach. So the Bulls are starting to turn it around. But, and I love the Bears' defense, but at some point the offense needs to step up and get better. So, anyways, we could go on and on about the Bears' issues. I can't wait for Week 8. We've got Falcons-Panthers tonight. Who you got tonight?
I am going to go with the Carolina Panthers in a close game.
Yep, I am with you. I got the Panthers in a reasonably close game, and should be a good one. So appreciate you coming on, Dustin. Have a good one. Appreciate all the support, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment. Search us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, all that shit. We're on there. Alex Leak and Friends NFL Podcast. We got some more interviews coming up. We'll try to have one next week for you guys. So appreciate the support and have a good one. Peace out.